size and talent.
Well, here's Michael Westbrook. We thought that Buchanan was going to stay with Ellard wherever he goes. That time, Ellard went in motion. Buchanan then picks up Westbrook, and they release Ellard back inside. You just see Ellard going underneath. Now here's the throw, and Buchanan's to the outside. Just a good throw.
Farad has now used 8 different receivers in this game, and he's back to pass on first down. Before he caught it, Brian Mitchell.
That's one of those babies, Dick, where you catch the ball in your hands and you turn your head to look at the defensive guy to see where he is and see where I can run and forget to catch the football. Flag down.
Holding offense, number 67. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, that's something you don't see often thus far this year. Is a penalty against the Redskins. They're one of the fewest or least penalized teams, and the Colts the same. Here's Shar Bordanish, the left tackle, born in Iran. His family escaped when he was age 9 to Germany for 3.5 years, and ultimately settled in Southern California. Went to high school in Irvine, California. As an Iranian, he said, in the 8th grade, I woke up every morning knowing I'd be in a fight. Somebody'd want to fight me. They didn't like me because of my heritage. He said, I always picked on the biggest guy in the game.
Right. There must have been a lot of them fighting him as big as he is.
And almost intercepted on the carom as it goes off Asher's hands, and Sammy Burrows of the Colts was in the area.
Bordanish is having a tough time now with Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett's putting some moves on him, and he comes out. Here he is on the bottom of the screen. Now watch the move that Bennett tries to make, and he takes him back into the quarterback. Here comes Bennett, 56. Boom to the outside. Now the spin move back inside. Boom. Bordanish, that's a nice block, though.
Oh, that's an excellent job getting out of position, and they actually teach linemen to do that. You know, just spread your arms out a little, and what they call it, the hind block. You know, block them with your hind.
Second down, Farad underneath to Mitchell. Clever. Finally out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Farad and Buchanan muscle him out of the field of play, an 11-yard gain.
Well, Norv Turner told us yesterday he's really happy with his downfield passing game. Gus Farad does a good job of stepping up and finding the open receiver. But he says the thing they haven't done well is throw the ball short. And so far today, Indianapolis, they know they like to go down the field. They've kind of played soft on defense. Gus Farad and Norv Turner doing a good job of finding the open receivers underneath.
Well, why would he want to throw the ball short? He said, if you don't average over 15 yards, you don't belong on my team. So there aren't any short passes.
3rd and 9. Farad with that pump fake, and he goes long, incomplete. Well covered by David Tate. A flag is down in the Redskin backfield. Henry Ellard, the intended receiver.
The guy they're looking at is Jamie Asher, number 84. Now he's a tight end, and you said this right at the beginning of the game. What the Redskins do is they give you maximum protection. They want Farad to have as much time as he possibly can to throw the football.
For 84 against Tony Bennett, number 56. That is just trouble all the way. Tony Bennett, too good of a pass rusher, too much speed and power for a tight end.
And Matt Turk, the punter, comes in out of field goal range.
So he was in practice. He was dropping these babies in about the 5-6 yard line.
He led the NFL inside the 20 last year. 29 kicks inside the 20. Ray Buchanan will watch this one go into the end zone. So the Colts will get it back at the 20-yard line with 7:40 left, 3rd quarter.
It's the only one out there. And here it comes. The only compact pickup to offer a 3rd door. Okay, folks, show's over. Chevy S10, like a rock.
Folks, please remain calm. It has been confirmed. Everyone can now buy a DSS system for as low as $399. And with a year's prepaid subscription to DirecTV, also get $200 cash back. DirecTV apologizes for any mass hysteria this may cause and stresses again, it's got to be DirecTV, satellite TV at its best. Repeat, DSS, $399, $200 cash back. If we all act civilized, we can get through this thing. Questions?
Hi, got your pizza.
I didn't order a pizza.
You didn't order a pizzeria stuffed crust pizza?
Sure didn't.
It's baked fresh every day. Not too thick, not too thin. Just like pizzeria pizza. Mmm, tasty sauce. Ring of cheese that's baked into the crust. It's just $8.99 for a large, but...
Oh, yeah, that's our... Thanks a lot.
Discover Pizzeria Stuffed Crust Pizza.
Hi, got your pizza.
What pizza?
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By the new Coors Light wide-mouth can. Tap the Rockies with a smoother pour. By HBO, it's not TV, it's HBO. And by Pizza Hut. Now we've got your pizza.
City of breathtaking architecture, the monument to Abraham Lincoln on this absolutely ideal football Sunday at RFK. Got a good one going. The Redskins leading 17-13. Colts from the 20, midpoint third quarter. Marshall Falk, almost 4 on the play. Stopped by Dexter Nottage. Nottage, number 92, played only 2 years at Florida A&M, quit school, was out of football, doing a variety of jobs from hauling furniture to washing cars to being a security guard to hauling telephone cable, which he said was his toughest, and his wife is the one who got him into football. It's a good story. He said, "You're too good an athlete. I think I can get you a job, even in the NFL."
He also gets the checks.
He should. Second down, the scramble by Harbaugh, throws to Dillon. And he is drilled for a loss back at the 21-yard line. Ken Harvey, running in tandem with the Colts tight end, delivers a 3-yard loss.
Well, William Gaines, number 95, just comes through almost untouched on the defensive line. Comes over the right guard and chases Harbaugh right out of the pocket. But that's the thing Jim Harbaugh brings to your team. You really do a terrible job pass blocking, but he's able to escape and keep from having a negative play on your offense.
That was Malum, and that's what you call a whip.
Third down 8. Shotgun, the visored Harbaugh, protecting that broken nose, suffered a week ago. Underneath the Dawkins, and he stretches for a first down. They say he was down. No fumble, picked up by Richard. He was down by contact, 11 yards and a first down.
You know, this is one of those calls when the receiver, Dawkins, catches the ball and you're tackled. Remember, if you're being tackled, the ground cannot cause a fumble. Here it comes underneath. They clear out with save line, and watch this. Is he down? His knees are down. Once his knees are down, he's down. He's reaching the ball. Good call by the officials. No? You like that?
I liked it a lot.
Dawkins 4 catches, 54 yards. Harbaugh on quite a streak without an interception. He leads the league, as he did last year, in fewest interceptions per attempt. Good play action on first down. Wanted to go deep. Now throws incomplete. No penalty flag.
I'll tell you that the referee is looking for someone. The umpire is there.
His arm was hit, though. He was throwing to a receiver. His arm gets hit. That's what makes the ball fall out there where there's no receiver.
Wait a minute. They talked this over. You sure his arm was hit?
I'm never positive, but I'm pretty sure.
He hit a lineman with a pass.
Well, you could see the referee was just standing there. Gary Lane was just standing there waiting. So he went up to the umpire, and they wanted to talk this thing over.
Intentional grounding, number 4 in the offense, 10-yard penalty, loss of down, third down, second down.
It'll be second and long against Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh buys himself some time, really holds on to it too long. He's being grabbed as he's throwing the football. I think it's a bad call. There is a receiver he sees underneath, the running back. At the last second, he's going to throw it to him. He's hit, makes the ball go way out in front.
Excellent call. I'm going to tell you, that was Owens who hit him. That was an excellent call. Had they had a replay, this would have been brought back.
You can see Jim Harbaugh is going to be a receiver come out here in this area just as he's getting hit. He's going to, there he is right there coming to the receiver. He's trying to get rid of the football, but he can't because the defender has a hold of him.
Second and 18. Harbaugh drilled as he delivers. Caught a leaping catch by the rookie Marvin Harrison. A flag down as Harbaugh was drilled in the backfield. Tony Woods, and they're calling it holding against Indianapolis. So again, Harbaugh, although he's not been sacked today, taking some brutal hits as he holds on it to the final second.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face, offense, number 64, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Doug Weidel, the left guard. You know, you stand in there, you take a shot, you get it downfield, you pick up the first down, and then there's the play. Just hands to the face.
No question about that one.
And when the Colts get known passing situations, that's when Jim Harbaugh has been getting hit today.
Second down and 30, back-to-back major penalties against Indianapolis. Harbaugh chased by Gilbert. Dives out to the 20-yard line. Gilbert was in pursuit all the way. That man is 313 pounds chasing Harbaugh, and he barely stayed in front of Gilbert, did Harbaugh.
You remember what Sean Gilbert said to us yesterday? I don't want to let that man out of that pocket.
He called him Slash, remember?
Here it comes. Now the Bird's going to make a block. You get the pitch and throws a block, a nice block, and then Harbaugh cuts back inside. Nice play by Harbaugh.
But you're right. Sean Gilbert says, hey, this is the real Slash, Jim Harbaugh. He can throw, run, he can do it all.
Third down, 23. Lamont Warren, and that was just a play. No sense, 23 yards deep in your own end. Lindy and Fonte just trying to get some added yardage forward for the punting team coming on. Unable to overcome two big penalties on that possession.
Well, midway through the second quarter, the defense of the Colts, Dick, they've pretty much put it together, and they've shut down the Redskins. So now, why take a chance? You're absolutely right. Let's kick the ball away. How many coaches have told us? There's nothing wrong with punting the ball.
Garadaki, his second punt today. Ryan Mitchell, one of the better return men at the 30 of Washington. Twister that comes down at the 28. Well, he is aggressive on his return. One man to beat the punter, Garadaki. He won't get in the way. And it's Brian Mitchell finally knocked out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Flag is down. Ray McElroy saved the touchdown barely.
The face mask penalty against the Colts. And the ball will be at the half-yard line because they will take a penalty, which is half the distance.
71-yard return by the veteran Brian Mitchell, who led the league last year with 2,348 all-purpose yards.
Personal foul, face mask on the tackler, half the distance to the goal line, first down.
He was number 1 punt returner 2 years ago. He was number 2 in the league last year.
And you know the thing about him that makes him so good is he explodes to the hole. There's no hesitation with Mitchell. Once he gets the ball, he knows where the blocking assignments are, and he knows where to go. He gets there in a hurry.
First and goal at the 1. Terry Allen denied. Ellis Johnson first there. Elijah Alexander there to follow up. More on Mitchell. You know, he looks like a little back. He is not. He's 5'10" and 220. And so when he defies and takes that ball back at full speed on the first step, not dancing around, he finds a hole and goes.
Well, the Redskins, all year long, they do it in all phases of the game. Offense, defense, and their special teams have created touchdowns for them, too.
Second down. Touchdown, number 12 this year for Terry Allen. second touchdown today. He scored from 4 yards out in the first quarter. But it was Brian Mitchell's 71-yard return that set the table for Allen. Blanton's extra point. And a flag down. Catapulting in for the score, Terry Allen. .413. Gary Lane.
Holding. Offense, number 89. 10-yard penalty. Re-kick.
Scott Galbraith, the tight end, with a hold, so still 23-13. But as they sing that famed fight song here in Washington Hill to the Redskins, they're singing it not only with more vigor, but with more conviction here in D.C.
They're making believers out of these fans, and last week they beat the Giants, and the fans weren't even that loud, but as the game went on, I think they're finally realizing this team can be one of the best in the NFL.
30-yard extra point is good. The Redskins, and another flag is down. Oh, these extra points have been hazardous duty in the first half. Richard Dent was ejected from the game for throwing a punch on the extra point. Now back-to-back penalties. One for holding against Washington. And our men in the black and white stripes will discern what this one is all about.
Well, obviously the kick's going to stay because the Redskins are leaving the field.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 76 on the kicking team. Extra point is good, 15 yards on the kickoff.
Well, the score remains 24-13 late in the third.
Coverage downfield with Mike Pryor and Evans. I thought Courtney Hawkins was going to end up with that ball. See, Courtney Hawkins has actually gotten behind Doug Evans. But this isn't all bad for Tampa Bay defense if they can make this happen.
Oh, on first down. A short game by William Henderson. Takeaway certainly has been the key for this Green Bay Packer team. 22 interceptions through the first 7+ games, including today. Last year, a grand total of 13. They're number one in the giveaway takeaway ratio for the season.
Yeah, and last year, they were last in the NFC in interception. That's one thing Mike Holmgren said we got to get better at. Bringing in Eugene Robinson, I think, helped him in that area. He may not have the burst speed and blazing speed to do things, but he's a smart guy and he will be in position.
Second down and 7, and Dilfer to throw a little bit short, so having to fall while making the catch was Desmond Howard. A big third down coming up for this Tampa Bay defense, already trailing 13-0, and the clock winding down under 3:40 in the third.
Tom, can you see the way the offense for Green Bay has kind of turned it down a notch? I think Mike Holmgren has said, hey, okay, losing a Robert Brooks is one thing. You have an off week to prepare for him and get a game plan. But then when Antonio Freeman goes down, now you got to step back and say, whoa. I think he's saying that we're going to try to run this game and get out of here. Run the ball.
Third down and 4, short drop far side, and the intended receiver, Beebe, makes a reception and a first down at the 17.
Nice play by Beebe, very close. Here's the only thing I question, and this is what Donnie Abraham needs to work on, game strategy. Down and distance, very short. Come up, look where the first down marker is. Don't give him that much. Look how close he got anyway. If he's playing maybe another yard or two up close to the line, or even bump and run, Green Bay may be punting the ball right now.
Instead, it's a first down. And Edgar Bennett gets the carry, short yardage. Lonnie Martz in on the tackle.
And coming into this game for Green Bay, the question was the tackles. Ken Rutgers on the physically unable to perform list the last couple weeks. He comes off of it. Actually, since the beginning of the year, he comes off of it after having 2 knee surgeries in the offseason. They didn't know if he was going to be able to go. And then Michaels didn't know if he was going to be able to play. He's been bothered by a right knee injury.
Out of the backfield, Edgar Bennett drops the throw from Favre. Mayhew on the coverage. So another third down coming up for Favre and company.
Getting a little bit sloppy here. A lot of drops. Desmond Howard had to drop. Now, Edgar Bennett with the drop. Mike Holmgren has to be thinking right now how he's going to handle this situation this week. What is he going to have to change? This is not where you want to be heading into in November. You look at the Super Bowl teams. People keep talking about what this team has to do to get there. The Super Bowl teams stay healthy.
Third down and 7. Jason Manecki, a rookie out of Wisconsin, seeing a lot of playing time along the defensive line. First catch of the game for Keith Jackson. And it's a big one to the 30-yard line. They'll move the chains.
Keith Jackson. Mike Holmgren made Keith promise him when he came up here this year that he wouldn't complain about not starting. And he promised Mike that he wouldn't complain. Because Keith Jackson maybe was on his way to New Orleans or even Miami or going maybe into the booth. He was thinking about getting out of football altogether.
Inside handoff to Edgar Bennett, breaks a couple of tackles and slithers his way to the 39-yard line. Brett Favre has gone 17 consecutive games of getting a touchdown passes. There you see Antonio Freeman. If you weren't with us earlier, injured, a broken left arm, going for a reception.
Now, depending on what type of break that is, he may or may not be able to come back and play very soon, like next week or so. And if it's something they can pad up, that's one thing. But when you break a forearm, that affects how you grip things. So that may be the bigger problem. Not that it's the break, but just having to strengthen his arm to catch the ball.
And Freeman, even when Robert Brooks was healthy, Freeman was the leading Green Bay Packers receiver this season.
Isn't it amazing how people forgot about Sterling Sharp with Robert Brooks? Robert Brooks came in, and when Sterling left, people said, well, that's it. The Green Bay Packers are in trouble. They'll never replace Sterling Sharp. 2 years later, they're all talking about Robert Brooks. Now Brooks goes down, and the same talk started with Antonio Freeman having to come in and be the guy. And I think they got to go back into the pot again. Somebody's got to step up. One thing I noticed at training camp this year, watching the Packers, they have a lot of depth at wide receiver, and there's a good thing for it. Because this is a part of the year where you need everybody healthy. It's a long, long season. The bye week for them really came at a perfect time. Last week, right in the middle of the season.
Well, they missed on the second down try, so it'll bring up third down and maybe an inch, if even that. Under a minute to play here in the third quarter. Green Bay holds a 13-0 lead. Bennett in motion. Really stick his nose in there. They'll turn and a roll, and it's good enough for a first down, and more than likely the final play.